Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Pundit says selling your XRP at $10 will be a once-in-a-lifetime mistake. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so the pundit in question here is Edo Farina. As you know, me and him have had run-ins in the past, but that's a story for another day. But he's saying here, if you sell your XRP at $10, it will be a once-in-a-lifetime mistake. And I thought I'd get into this because the market's really heating up right now. So, you know, we're seeing now that it is looking like alt season is upon us. Bitcoin is going for its final run up from what I can see. So it's looking like we'll see how high this goes. And then it should be at that point, the price will begin to fall, Bitcoin dominance falls, and then the money goes into altcoins, and that's how alt season begins. So it looks like we're literally at that point. Very exciting times. And so I thought this was a very relevant conversation to have now because, you know, when we see how high XRP does get ultimately, people will obviously have decisions to make. So, okay, the thing that I'll say here with Edo, and I'll actually say I agree with him here, is that he's looking at this from like a longer term perspective, because that was my first argument, right? He's like, if you're saying selling at $10 will be, you know, a once in a lifetime mistake, well, what kind of time frame are you talking about? Because if you're talking about for this market cycle, I personally, you know, and this is me saying I'm someone who doesn't know how high XRP is going to go. I have no idea. I'm not going to pretend to act like I know. Nobody knows really. People make their own speculations. We'll see what happens. But, you know, nobody knows where it's going to go. But if you're talking about this cycle, I think $10 this cycle is possible. I think $10 could possibly be the top for this cycle. Now, I don't know. It could go higher. I do think it could very much go higher. But I'm saying that it is also possible that $10 could be it. That could be the top. So if you used to say to me selling, you know, at $10 for this cycle, I personally wouldn't say that's a mistake because you'll never know where XRP is going to get to. Nobody knows for sure. So it could be that if you sell at $10 this market cycle, it could be that you got the top. It could be that, say, for example, okay, let's just say it goes to $11. Well, you got as high as you could get it. It's not like you sold at $5 and then it went to $10. You've sold literally at $10 and it's only gone $1 higher. So you've not really missed out on that much. But yeah, is it possible that you could sell at $10 and let's say XRP goes to $20? That is possible. But the problem that you've got here is you don't know where it's going to go, right? And so the thing for me with this is, a lot of these influencers, when they talk like this, there's two things to it, right? They tell you kind of like what to do. Like, you know, selling at $10 would be a lifetime mistake. The question I'll say to these guys is, well, you know, Edo's a huge influencer. Like he's clearly a successful influencer, right? And so for him, he's making enough money off of XRP content. So he's not at a point where he necessarily has to sell at $10. He doesn't have to, or he's probably got enough XRP where he can sell, you know, a percentage of XRP at $10, make a good amount of profit and still have a load of XRP left over. So when people talk like this, they talk from a position of privilege, right? Like they're not understanding that, you know, some people here have probably been waiting years and they might not have nowhere near as much XRP as him. So for them, this might be their chance to really change their lives in the immediate future. And so what I'll say is this, like, do I think XRP is going to go higher than $10 in the future? I absolutely do. But the point that I'm making here is, okay, let's say XRP does hit $10 for the top of this cycle. So let's say $10 is the peak for this cycle. We don't know how long it's going to take then from there for XRP to then go to its next phase of price discovery, right? Like it could be that we have to wait another 4 years for the next bull run to see where XRP will go at that point. So yes, I agree that it could be a lifetime mistake because, you know, it could be that if you're willing to wait another 4 years or another 8 years, that yeah, XRP could be at like, let's say $60 within those next 4 to 8 years. But are you willing to wait those next 4 to 8 years? That's the point that you have to ask yourself. Because look, the thing for me, whenever I talk about this, and this is why I don't tell people what to do, I don't know your personal circumstances, right? I don't know what situation you're in. I don't know how much XRP you own. Like, I don't know any of this information. So I don't know what could be, you know, like let's just say, for example, there could be someone in America who needs a real, you know, a big surgery. And they was hoping on having this money to pay for the surgery. Now, I know they say don't invest what you can't afford to lose, but people can sometimes desperate measures, or it could be that you had a job and then they've lost their job, and so now they're counting on this money to come through to help them. So it's hard to really just say, oh yeah, if you just sell now, it's a mistake, because I don't know your circumstances. You might have a thing where your back's against the wall and you need to sell in this bull run. So I never judge people for when they're going to sell. And my thing is this, I'll say this again, like, look, I've said it before, but don't let Edo, don't let BitBoy, don't let, Black Swan Capitalists, like any of these influencers, don't let them tell you when to sell. Don't even me. Like, I'm not going to tell you when you should or shouldn't sell. You've got to do what's right for you. Don't let these influencers tell you when to sell, because you got to understand that they're in a different position in life to you guys, and they're making money just talking about XRP. So they're in a position where it doesn't matter for them because they'll be making money regardless, right? And that's the thing that I think is a bit of a problem with the influencers. Like, they talk from such an easy standpoint, like, oh, if you sell now, it's a mistake. You don't know what that could be for that person. You don't know what that's going to do for their life. Now, do I agree that in the future, I think XRP will be more valuable? I do. I'm pretty confident of that. I'm like 99% sure it will be more valuable than $10 in the future. So I agree that if you sell all of it, so you could maybe sell a percentage. Maybe it's a thing where you say, okay, look, maybe I'll sell half of my XRP, or maybe I'll just sell, 20% of my XRP just so I can get some value out of this bull run. But like, I think when you're just telling people just don't sell completely, it's like, you don't know their situation to be telling them what to do like that. Now, will it be a thing where you could eventually just, regret it because it goes higher? Well, yes, but again, like, it depends on what your circumstances are. If you needed the money at that time, you've had to make a decision, And this is the thing I will say, just like, because we obviously are talking about this bull run now kicking in. Look, let's just say XRP does get to $10 and you do decide to sell and take some profit. And then let's just say XRP does get to $20. You've got to live with that decision, right? Like, will you kick yourself? Yes, you will. But the problem is that you didn't know where it was going to go to $20. The problem is that you could have sold at $10 and then that could have been it. You might have literally have sold at the top and then, it drops back down, or like I say, it goes to $11. So you don't know where this is going to go. Right, you can obviously listen to chart analysts and stuff like that, but I've had some chart analysts who I've seen who've said XRP is going to like $20 plus to $30. I've seen some who've said it's going up to like $40 to $50. I've seen some who've said it's going to $10. So it's hard to say for sure where it's going to go. Different chart analysts are saying different things. So nobody knows for sure, right? Everybody's making their speculation and we'll just see what happens. But this is the thing, like, you don't know. So for me, when I say selling XRP at $10 will be a mistake, for me, I say, look, it comes down to your personal circumstances. If you can live with that decision and you needed to do it, then you needed to do it. Now, I can tell you how I'm treating this. I'd be willing to sell some XRP at $10, but I wouldn't sell all of my XRP at $10. That's the way I'm doing it. I'm going to sell percentages, but I will be honest, the strong majority of my XRP I am keeping for long term. I'm going to sell percentages, but you got to understand, for me, again, my circumstances are different. I have 15 to 20 different cryptos. So I'm not just extracting value from just XRP. I'll be extracting values from other cryptos as well. So I'll make up a good chunk of money out of all of my cryptos. And the main ones that I believe in, I'm only selling percentages of. I've got some that are just quick flip. So it'll just be get the money out of the crypto and sell it all off. That's it. Not going back. But there's, a few that I've got belief in long term. Those I'm only selling percentages of because I want to see where they go long term and what value I can get out of them long term. So again, my circumstances are different, right? Like, some of you guys have probably only got XRP. You're just literally only banking on XRP and that's it. And this is what I mean. Like, there's so many different variables to this scenario to say why, you selling at $10 could be a mistake or not. And, who knows if some people have got, like, let's just say some people have got enough money where they've got enough XRP, where if they sell at $10, they could be like multi-millionaires. They could have huge amounts of XRP. So it could be that, hey, like, all I need is $10 and then that's it. My life's set. So for them, it might be like, I don't care waiting another like 10 years or whatever for, the higher value. Like, I can literally be a multi-millionaire this year. And so, if I then continue to invest my money and put it into other things, I'll get money back anyway. you know? And even with XRP, you can reinvest back into XRP. You haven't got to like come out of it and then that's it. You can reinvest more money back into XRP. So there's so many different factors, and this is what I mean. So my main thing with this is, all I'm trying to say is that don't let these influencers kind of dictate what to do. Like, you've got to look at your personal circumstances and you've got to make a decision. And not me, not Edo, not anyone else can, you know, they can't tell you what to do here. And I'll be honest with you, like, with all due respect to Edo and, you know, some of these guys, some of them are just doing hype content. So some of them will have you waiting for something that, in my opinion, won't even happen. And so I'm not going to get into that because I'm not trying to make this like a bashing session. I'm really just trying to stick to the topic at hand here. But if some of these guys will tell you what they think is going to happen, in my opinion, you'll be there waiting for something that just never comes. So for me, I'm looking at this from a more realistic aspect. $10 to me, if I had just to sell a percentage of my XRP, could greatly benefit my life now in the short term. Hugely benefit my life. And then, you know, in the long term, I've got money then to wait. I can wait with the rest of my XRP for the more long-term value. So look, the decision's your guys to make. Like, as I say, you make your own mind up, but I'll just say, like, nobody knows your circumstances. Only you know your circumstances. So you guys have got to make a decision. But as I said, like, just remember, you haven't got to sell all your XRP. You could sell a percentage of it, you know? I think that's a possibility. You know, that's something that you could look at as well. But do I think that XRP will be more than $10 at some point? Yeah, I do. But I just don't know how long it's going to take for it to go beyond that. Now, it could be beyond it this year. It could be that XRP goes up to $20, $30 this year. We don't know. That's what I'm saying. So we'll have to see how it goes. But you guys make a decision, yeah, because time's looking like it's ticking. It's looking like the ballroom will be upon us soon, the alt season. And you guys are going to have to make some decisions at that point. So get a plan together and make sure you execute. Good luck to you. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.